Hey everyone, sorry we're a couple of minutes late. Hope you're all still there. I see you're already commenting away. How's everyone doing? How you doing tonight, Carla?
I'm well. How are you? Part 2 of 2.
It's been a busy day, like nonstop crazy, but it's okay.
Did you get to watch your football?
I watched some football, not as much as I wanted to. That was my way of relaxing. I just really needed to relax because I'm still recovering, and I'm still taking all that cough medicine and stuff like that. So, yeah, so it looks like we've got a couple people here, and thank you for coming here because I scheduled it first. I always do try to see, the other main content creators when they're going to go live, and I try not to do it at the same time. So, but sometimes people don't announce when they're going to do it. So, you just have to deal with that. But so we'll go over the last half hour of Georgia's Cross tonight. And we're probably only going to go on for maybe an hour at the most. It's already 8:37. Oh my gosh. And Carla, what time do you have to leave? Do you have like an hour?
About an hour, hour and a half at most.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get to it where we left off yesterday. So if you're joining us tonight and you didn't see yesterday night's live stream, you can always go back and replay this. So what we're doing is we're talking about Georgia's Cross of Charlie in preparation and to get our nerves settled for tomorrow for Verdict Watch. So hey, Kat, and hey, Grace, and hey, Pap, and hey, Carrie. And I'm going back up here. Judy, nice to see you. Judy D, Kara, hi. So good to see you. And hey. Okay, so let's get started. A lot to start, a lot to go through. Yes, espresso martinis and NyQuil. Okay. All right. I've got to close that. Sorry. I lost her. Where'd she go? Where's my oh, there she is, Georgia. Where's my Georgia? Okay, here we go, guys.
They asked me weeks before the bump, because I had this connection at a place called the Moorings that I could get like a really
blah about the Moorings.
Really affordable price.
This
for
is
how nice the place is.
I was blabbing about this yesterday.
I said I was gonna make some calls and help her out and get it.
And what is he talking about? He has a connection. What is that?
He had a connection for a hotel, and he's helping Katie play for a hotel. He's got all these blah excuses for why he's helping her financially. Not because he paid for murder for hire, but because she was extorting him. And he's talking about all these trivial details about his hotel.
Bag at my house, $300 in it, and I got her a hotel room.
Is that a yes? You remember that conversation?
Yeah. I did.
Is that a yes?
And she didn't want the trip. In the text messages, she's saying like, "No thanks," and
no
you're
thanks,
kind of forcing it down her throat. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, because actually, it's funny.
Because that's how extortionists are. They say, "No, I don't really want the money. Thanks anyway."
At that time, in The Wire, I was trying to see if Katie and him were together or they weren't together. So that's why I kept asking, how are things? Are you guys okay? Because if they were fighting, it was making me think more and more that the reason she was avoiding me was because she found out that he was the one who was doing the second extortion again.
Oh, sure.
So I was trying to
figure that doesn't make any sense.
If she was lying to me.
In this case, she says, "I don't want to do anything," and you say, "You know what? F that. You're going there. You're going to have a good time."
For sure. I was trying to do nice things for her.
Because I'm so nice.
Pay for a trip or offer to pay for a trip to Santo Domingo for Catherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia to visit his parents?
I didn't know who she was going with, but I paid for. You're talking about airline tickets?
Yes.
She called me up. She had an emergency. Something happened. She booked tickets for the wrong date. I had no idea who in the family she was going with. And she had no money. And
I mean, that sounds like something an extortioner would do.
I remember I was in Chicago. I was at a friend's wedding, and I took out my credit card and I gave her the credit card number and let her book tickets. I thought she was going with her kids.
So is that a yes? You paid?
Oh, yeah, no,
Just
I remember
saying,
that
just
well.
So
For
go
sure.
quicker if we could just
I'm sorry.
answer the question.
I wonder.
Argumentative.
I wonder if he was at a friend's wedding or his cousin's wedding when he and Wendy came out here to LA.
He said he was in New Jersey.
Oh,
Did you offer to buy Catherine Magbanua and her mom a cruise?
Yes, Katie had mentioned to me that she always wanted to be able to take her mom on a cruise. So I offered, but she never took me up on it.
Did you call in prescriptions for Catherine Magbanua?
She was a patient of record of my office.
Did you pay for a meal service for Catherine Magbanua?
Yeah, I did.
Did you pay for car repairs for her?
Yeah, all this stuff was making me think she was broke. So yes, you're right.
Did you offer that she could use your Range Rover anytime?
I said she could borrow the car, sure.
Did she talk about getting a boat and you offered to help her get a boat?
I never offered to help her get a boat. I offered to help her look for a boat.
Did you pay for the breast augmentation?
No,
No part of the breast augmentation.
not at all.
So when she's saying,
He tried to sell her his boat. That's also something you would totally do to an extortionist. Hey, you want to buy my boat? It makes no sense.
at the same time, she's the day of the breast augmentation, can I just put it on the credit card? Is she referring? Can I just put it on your credit card? Is she referring to something else, some other expense?
I have no idea what she's referring to, but I did not pay for her boo job.
What about this birthday gift for
I mean, that's where he drew the line, just right there.
Sigfredo Garcia? What was the bonsai tree in the bag? What was that all about?
I feel like we did
She
this
had
last
asked
night.
me, and it's on a wire. It's on 420, where she says, "Can you get me some bud from Bud?"
yeah,
My
we
next
did.
door neighbor's Bud, and she asked me if I could get some marijuana from my next door neighbor for her. So that's what I told you. What happened? Absolutely.
Mom tells you on that first wire call that the bump involves the two of us, referring to, as you know, physically today.
Sorry,
as
I'm
we sit here.
skipping because we went through this last night.
And
Yeah, because this
Are
is
you
when we mentioned
concerned
that
that
he's
because
even
you
throwing his
told-
neighbor under the bus.
you're making a
I thought it was at 127. Maybe it was at 137. Sorry, guys. I'm going to go to 137. Let me know if you think it's repeat. I didn't know if it was from last night or from the other 3 times I listened. So you maybe could be a better judge.
But TV is code for absolutely nothing. There is no code.
Okay, we heard this last night, didn't we? That
Yes.
the TV. Okay. All right. So it must have been 147 because that would give us, because we're close to the end last night. Okay.
And
Oh.
Pap, you're right. He doesn't have any real friends.
No real friend. Of course not. Sorry, chat. I'm still trying to get my.
We're smart.
No,
So-
we weren't a part of this.
You walled yourself off
I
from
was
the
sure they're
killers.
not going to have evidence to show I did something I didn't do. So we're not running to the airport.
And you're untouchable, right?
No, we didn't do a murder. I wasn't part of a murder. There's no reason to run to the airport.
In the next clip, you're discussing what's going to happen if this person that did the bump goes to the police. And you're going through all these scenarios, these possibilities.
Wait, if he goes to the police?
Yeah, the blackmailer goes to the police. They're going to say, "Where's the weapon?" He's not going to know. He's just going to have hearsay, basically. Someone told me they did it. It's not going to be enough to get the investigation anywhere. Why are you thinking through the possibility of the blackmailer going to the cops if the blackmailer doesn't have any dirt on you to take to the cops?
I wasn't thinking about the blackmailer. What I was trying to say is I don't know anything about Sigfredo. I don't know anything about this crime. I was trying to tell her that I'm harmless. I don't have any knowledge of what went on. Like, the last thing I wanted is that now that she's saying it's the police, is someone to come and kill me and think I'm some kind of loose end. So
But
that's
that-
why I'm saying that.
But that's not what you're saying. You're saying if this is a person that Luis Rivera ran his mouth to and they go to the police, it's going to be worth 0. because they're not going to know anything other than, hey, my brother told me this.
I don't know if I was saying with someone who knows Luis Rivera. I was trying to make a point that I don't know anything.
And then you suggest what they would have to do is get him to wear a wire and get the person to confess. And that's probably what this could be, an effort to do, right?
Well, they're thinking that we were part of a murder. So this was the same thing I said before, is that this is their theory. So this is a police tactic, and it could be either a bad guy or the police. And this is how they're pursuing it.
Exactly. So as long as you keep your mouth shut, you can get away with murder, right?
No, not at all.
Isn't that
We
what you
didn't
told
do a
Ryan
murder.
Fitzpatrick?
No, Ryan Fitzpatrick is someone who stole over $500,000 from
That's
me.
not my question, sir.
Sorry.
Did you say that to Ryan Fitzpatrick?
No, never. Never at all.
Never at all.
Why do you go into
Okay.
so much detail about rental car examples? Let's start with, strike that. Can you agree that the Prius, you knew that the police were looking for a Prius at the time you met at this Dolce Vita restaurant?
I think it had been released at that time.
All right, and you heard the recording. You're arguing. Let's play the clip. This is going to be clip. I think let's play 7 and 8, please. Dolce.
Because the fact is like, even if, let's say, you just got my car, and then I go ahead and I go, when you're dating my car, I go, yeah, she was in my car, she got out, and she did this horrible crime. Okay, they combination the DNA in the car, they go, no, she was in my car. He sat in the car for 2 minutes, got the AC, and then got out of the car. He had nothing to do with you telling her. Outside of that,
Oh,
there's no evidence. And, you know, if you have a car and you can link this person to renting that car that you okay. But you have to prove that they were also driving that day and rented it and lent it to a friend. What if you rented a car and hey, can I borrow for the weekend? I'll bring it back on Tuesday. You know, yeah, sure. So you rented a car. You've been in that car. I drive into fucking Orlando. I rob McDonald's in Orlando. I come back and I go and okay, thanks. Yeah, you rented it. But what if you were fucking out all weekend and you didn't even know I took your car? I did something and I brought it back. Okay. My point is, I don't have any knowledge. Evidently, this person is either pretending to or does. I don't want someone paying to do this.
sounds like you're saying even if they track down the Prius, even if there's DNA or fingerprints in the Prius, meaning like they can link someone to the Prius, that's not going to be enough evidence to make any arrests in this case. Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. What I'm doing is I'm restating.
You've answered my question.
Can I give you an
On redirect, you'll have an opportunity.
Well,
My question was.
One moment.
My question
We're not
was-
just wildly arguing. Mr. Adelson, please answer the question.
okay.
I
Please
can
allow,
just ask you a yes or no question.
please allow me
and
to answer your question.
Okay.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Knock yourself out.
What I was saying to Katie.
I just threw up in my mouth with that last one. Can I? I just want to explain, can I? And then he turns it around and acts superior to her. Oh my gosh. What a
Is that
twit.
the
Sorry.
information she had just told me in the
Just-
car about Sigfredo not being there when the crime was committed. She told me that Sigfredo was high on drugs at the hotel and that Luis had rented a car and that he's the one who killed Dan. And I'm restating to her that I don't have any knowledge of what went on and that all I know is that Sigfredo wasn't even there when this happened. So that's what I'm restating to her.
That Sigfredo can't be caught even if he's connected to the crime, to the
Sigfredo-
car.
I know that Sigfredo wasn't the one who killed Dan.
Okay. Wouldn't it be good for you? Because you know now that Sigfredo is the extortionist, right? She just told you that in the car.
Sigfredo, yeah.
Okay. And wouldn't it be good for you if the police investigation into the Prius led to the arrest of the killers / Sigfredo is the extortionist, right? She just told you that in the car.
Sigfredo, yeah.
Okay. And wouldn't it be good for you if the police investigation into the Prius led to the arrest of the killers / extortionists?
Dawn,
If they arrested the people that killed Dan,
Yeah.
Yes.
you see behind Georgia's left shoulder that
Yeah.
brunette?
Her Georgia's left. Yes.
Is that the mother of his son?
I don't know.
Because she
No
looks
idea.
an awful lot like her.
Are you talking about Georgia's right in the orange sweater, the blonde?
No. Left,
The brunette?
That all you
Oh,
can see is basically her head.
No idea. Don't know. I doubt it. She'd be on the other side.
Well, I think to see him, but she looks like her.
Oh. Don't know. No one mentioned that she was there.
Right. That's true too. If anybody knows,
the
let us know.
would stop.
Yeah.
As long as I kept my mouth shut, I'd be safe.
Right. So why are you trying to argue to her that like the car is not going to lead anywhere? They're not going to be able to do anything with the car.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I know that Sigfredo wasn't the one who killed him.
Did you say on this recording, if they're a bad guy, there's two ways of dealing with it. Go ahead and contact the police. They'll contact him, the blackmailer, and arrange a setup. Take him down and he'll proffer 10 years and now tell us everything you know or else you're going to serve 10 years in prison. Next thing you know, this person is singing. He's calling out your name. My parents are going to have to tell the story of what happened. Singing about what? About the extortion?
No, I think you're reading it wrong.
I mean, she's doing a great job questioning, and I have over 120 points that I've already done up until this point. But Carrie asks, Katie's defense lawyers wanted Luis to be the shooter too, or instead of Sigfredo, basically. And Charlie has been harping on that, and I mentioned it last night too. And I don't know why he would want it to be Luis over Sigfredo unless there's some kind of promise between the two of them. It would be my only guess. Not that anything should matter at this point, but that would be my only guess, because he hasn't really. He's been careful about speaking about Sigfredo, but not so much with Luis, and he's claiming that he's so afraid of the Latin kings. You know, that's the trigger word here. So yeah, you answered your own question. What's the answer? Yeah, Sigfredo. I mean, there's evidence from forensics that it was a taller person. Yes, for Charlie. What does that mean? Okay, I'll keep going.
And thanks, Kat. I read or heard the same things.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, there it is.
I know the audible is bad.
What would
Are those the words?
Yes, sir. What would the extortionist, and now I'm referring to the one that contacted your mother.
The Latin king extortion.
Well, they're both Latin kings, right?
The second extortion.
What would they have to sing about?
The second extortion would be singing and talking about the first extortion, where they learned their information from.
Who cares? That doesn't have anything to do with you.
Well, when they catch the first extortion, Katie's tied to them and I'm tied to Katie. They're going to come talk to us, and we're.
So
going to
how
be
many
dangerous
extortions
when
are we
tell them
up
what
to?
happened.
Are we on 3?
So
Sorry. Yes, say pause first.
Are we on 3 extortions, or are we on 2? How many extortions are we at?
I can't follow it. What do you think is a 3? Are you hearing 3 now?
Well, I mean, because and he's got names for them, right? There's like the copycat extortion. There's the FBI extortion. There's the Latin King. I think there's 3 now.
Right. Well, you
Okay.
know what it is here on this channel? It is the faux extortion for the faux torsion.
Right, the faux torsion. Yep.
Faux torsion. Here we go.
Yep. Perfect.
I was saying if they cash the second, they're going to turn in
It's
on the
crazy.
first. And that's the same thing I said yesterday.
You gave very precise instructions to Catherine McBanoa on what she was to say when she calls the phone number, right?
Faux torsion. Faux torsion.
Yeah,
you do that?
Absolutely.
And then you say, quote, "You'd better kill him because he's going to be a big problem. And he knows who you are. If he can't do it, I'll have someone else do it." Aren't you telling her that if Garcia can't handle this problem and kill whoever's behind this, you will have someone else do it?
You're reading.
Now, right here, I think that this is a great point, but I think the more broader point that doctor, you're a doctor, right? And are you talking about killing another person or having it done by another person? I think I would have gone for more the broader and then brought it down to and rattled him a little and then asked the question. But, you know, because I know so much more than Georgia, I'm just saying, I don't know. It just seems like for clarity to the jury. What do you
And
think?
also brought up, you know, the oath that he took, right? Do no harm.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A little minor thing there, right? My goodness. Okay, great. Great. I'll be the judge. I'm glad.
You're
I wasn't
totally
sure.
wrong.
It's a yes or no question, sir.
No, you're wrong.
When Dan Markel's murder was taking too long to happen, didn't you tell?
I mean, he's not satisfied with saying no or no, that's not true. He has to say, no, you're wrong. I mean, that's just rude.
That's a Wendy
ugly.
move.
It's ugly. It's awful. He just, ugh.
Catherine McBanoa that if she couldn't get it done, you would
Good
find
cat.
someone else to do it?
No, I've never said that either.
And then you say in the recording, I'm back to Dolce now. Yeah, and guess what? When the effing police show up and there's a doctor, there's an oral surgeon standing there with a dead gang member in his effing driveway, they're not going to come down too hard on me. So you knew you'd be believed if you went to the police, right?
I didn't know I'd be believed, but I feared for my life.
And then you say, so help me God, if they fuck with my family, it's going to be fucking Nazi shit because this will be done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Katie, I don't care what I spend, okay? I swear to God. What is Nazi shit?
That's an expression that Katie would use to describe someone that's going crazy. I think the Nazis were absolutely crazy people. So I'm saying I'm going to get somebody to go crazy on the guy that's trying to extort my mom for money. I'll pay someone to go threaten him and to scare him. I was not
Nazis-
talking about killing anybody.
Well, you say the word kill. Yes?
No. Oh, when you're putting the words in my mouth, we can
No,
do that
sir.
sentence.
Do you say the word kill?
I'm talking about if Sigfredo's coming after you, he's such a dangerous guy, you'd have to kill him to stop him. That's the only thing you could do. Not talking about killing the extorter. I'm talking a second extortion.
Okay.
I'm saying that if Sigfredo's coming after you, the only thing that you could do is you'd have to kill him to stop him. I'm not talking about killing anybody. I'm talking about that's the only way that you could stop Sigfredo from coming after you is you would have to kill him. And that's exactly what I said there. You're wrong. That's exactly what I said.
You're wrong.
All right. Thank you. Nazis kill, right? Isn't that like their primary objective?
No, I think Nazis are insane, crazy people.
That exterminate, right?
That kill, yes, but they're
This-
crazy. That was an expression she would use, and that's when I used it to her, but basically saying I'm going to have someone go crazy on this guy. I could have used the word crazy. I thought it was interchangeable.
Isn't what you're doing here?
Crazy is always what I intend to use when I talk about Nazis.
And they're okay as long as his mom is the one that's referencing them.
It's yeah, that person is batshit Nazi. I say that all the time, right? I mean, oh my God, right, Queen Olive. Absolutely ridiculous. It's just, I'm sorry. I mean, it sounds dumber every time I hear it.
In this portion of the tape, feeling her out to make sure Garcia doesn't have any bad feelings toward you.
When I said it, yeah, I thought he could have been behind the second extortion. I think I've said that before.
Right on, C-Star.
And you go into like how your relationships didn't overlap, you never disrespected him, and you mentioned that, you know, you don't think that they, I assume you mean these other people, associates that have contacted your mom, would want to mess with his connections, right? You remember?
You're talking about the copycat extortion.
Oh, geez.
Right. And then you ask,
I'm starting to get loopy now. Okay, I think this is the fourth time. Now I'm laughing. You know, Judy said that when she was lucky she wasn't in court because she would have been laughing out loud. She was in her hotel room laughing, and
if he's
I
too
just
far
can't.
removed, or can he still make a call? Are you referring to Garcia in that?
Yeah, exactly.
So can Garcia make a call to try to figure out who this is?
Okay. Garcia helped stop the second extortion. Someone's doing a piggyback extortion on the first. That's exactly
Oh,
what I said.
jeez.
A piggyback extortion. That's right.
On
Now we have the
topic of
piggyback.
conversation for Catherine McBanoa, don't you say, I look for things to do, I show you, that's the difference. You don't ask me for shit. You said all those things, right?
Absolutely. That's proven what I've been saying all along, is that I didn't think she was part of this. So I was doing things to keep her happy from time to time. Ethan's birthday I brought up there. I gave her $300. I helped her out with the car when her car was broken. For sure.
And then you say, listen, you giving somebody money is not an admission of any kind of guilt. Would paying the money have made her look guilty?
That's what she was saying to me. She said it's the police. You can't pay the police. They're going to think you were part of a murder and they're going to arrest you.
But if it was an extortionist, it could have created a monster, right?
And if you don't pay the extortionist, you could get killed.
So when
Or you
these
could keep getting
guys,
extorted.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said if you don't pay the extortionist, you could get killed, or you could keep getting extorted.
But your main concern was that if we pay, this guy will think I'm an ATM machine, right? He'll keep coming back again and again and again. Don't you articulate that to Catherine McBanoa?
If it was an extorter, that was one of the concerns. And the other concern was not paying him and getting killed.
If it was.
But what you say.
If it was. He doesn't say because I was being extorted. I was being extorted. He's saying all this is outward about what they are, but he goofed there and said if.
Well, I don't remember the quote exactly. The main concern, what I'm most worried about, is that they're going to keep coming back for more, right?
I don't remember using the word the main concern.
But what you don't say in here is like what you or your homies have been doing to me for 2 years.
Of course not. I don't want her to think I'm setting her up.
What does that mean, setting her up? I don't want to think I'm setting her up. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. What the hell does that mean?
Right? Because that's kind of the first I've heard of that one. Hi, Bruce. What are we doing up? Well, we are going to make this relatively short, finish up the cross tonight. Nice to
But
see
in our
you.
defense, it's earlier here.
It's 3 hours earlier here, and we were watching football and letting Mentor Lawyer do his thing first. Nice to see you, Bruce. If you want to jump on the Verdict Watch tomorrow on my channel, let me know. Drop me an email.
Extortion and how extortion works to Catherine McBanoa.
In there?
Yeah.
Because I know.
But she knows too, doesn't she?
So I repeat myself. I do that.
You also explain it to your mother how extortion works, and has known about it for 2 years too, right?
From what I told her, yeah. I'm reminding her.
Then you say, if someone's messing with you, they're messing with me. And if someone's messing with me, they're messing with you. It's one and the same, right?
Yes, I said that.
You're in this together, right?
We're both innocent.
We're both innocent. But wait a minute, I thought she was not.
You were very obviously relieved on the wire when you came to the conclusion that.
Sorry,
this was
everyone, I'm
law
having
enforcement.
problems.
Would you agree with that?
Very relieved, yeah.
All right. And at that same time that on the wire you're expressing relief, or I should say,
Because I said so.
shortly after all the relief expressed on the wire, we've got the arrest of Catherine Magbanua, right?
No.
No. Okay. Would you agree that it goes relief on the wire, then arrest of Catherine Magbanua?
Do you want to give me dates? Because Kathy was arrested 6 months later.
Okay.
The
Can
wire
we
was in
agree
April.
that
She was
you were
So now she's Kathy. That's the other thing that threw me off. He's never referred to as Kathy. I mean, I know she might go by both, but
arrested in
very
October.
relieved on the wire, and that 6 months later, Catherine Magbanua was arrested.
She was arrested 6 months later, correct?
And
That was a
6
Wendy
months
answer.
later, after you were completely relieved on the wire, you begin to exhibit these extreme behavior changes that we've heard about. And what is your explanation for that?
Because I thought I'd be falsely arrested.
I feel like I heard this already.
Did you encourage Catherine Magbanua to reconcile with Garcia? That's a yes or no.
Yes, for sure I did.
Was that a good decision for her or a good decision for you?
Neither.
You've heard your lawyer say that you talk a lot. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
And you talk a lot on the wire, right?
Yes, I do.
Do you agree you're not a direct person?
My direct person.
There's a lot of circular talking on the wire.
However you want to describe my mannerisms of talking, you're welcome to describe it.
I'll do that in closing. What I'm asking is, do you agree that you are like that?
I think at times I'm direct, for sure.
Do you have a way of saying things without really saying it?
No, I think I'm pretty direct with things.
Do you think you can talk your way out of this?
No, I don't. I'm not part of a murder.
Who are they going to believe, right? An oral surgeon or a gangster?
That's extorting me in my driveway and coming and threatening me.
You're untouchable, right?
No, I'm not part of this murder. Yeah,
There was a
well,
lot of talk about going to the police on the wire, which I think we've well established did not happen. But you've always gone to the police before, right?
I've had other things that I've gone to the police for, yeah.
You've gone to the police in reference to something to do with your child's mother? Yes or no?
Yes.
You've gone to the police when you were threatened to be blackmailed over something with a woman back in 2015. Remember that?
No, I didn't go to the police.
Did you send a letter from your lawyer indicating that describing her actions as an attempted shakedown and indicating that not only will Dr. Adelson never pay a settlement, he will undoubtedly prevail and seek attorney's fees against your client?
Right. That's a civil complaint, and somebody was making an unfounded civil complaint and threatening filing a lawsuit, and an attorney handled the civil complaint. The police were never notified, but it was a civil suit.
It was somebody trying to shake you down for money.
It was a unfounded claim from a civil suit to me and another dentist that it was involving.
It was a claim that potentially had criminal implications as well, wasn't it, doctor?
For me?
Yes.
No. There was never a police investigation with that.
In 2018, did you report an aggravated assault where a vehicle was driving aggressively and narrowly avoided striking you?
I had a reporter almost kill my 10-week-old puppy dog that I was walking because I was going for a walk in the morning and he was.
I feel like we
stalking
heard
outside the
this
house.
In
already.
2018, did you report an aggravated assault where a vehicle was driving aggressively and narrowly avoided striking you?
He was more able to hit my dog too, but yeah.
Do your nephews deserve to know the whole truth about who killed their father?
Yeah, now they do.
Do
Now
Danny's
they do.
parents deserve to know what happened to their son?
He said now they do, but
Yeah.
they didn't deserve to. They didn't deserve to know until right now when I wanted to tell my story. That's
And-
really huge,
This next answer is also really telling.
right? And it's toward the end now.
Absolutely.
And you say you knew. I mean, you now say you knew a big piece of what happened, right?
Yes.
Do you feel bad about not volunteering that to Danny's parents?
I feel a sense of relief that now I was able to tell everybody what finally happened.
Like that right there.
Awful,
That right there.
awful. He can't even say he feels bad for the Markels. They're sitting right there, evidently in front of his baby mama. I mean, wow. That's just, it's all about, yeah.
It's all about him. It's a Wendy answer. It's a Fibbers answer because that's how I refer to her.
You're right. Right. He talks about his own feelings and his own perspective of this whole extortion. It's his perspective, not Katie's, which is why Georgia couldn't. I mean, it doesn't make any sense because an extortionist wouldn't do what he just because he thinks it doesn't mean it's true. I think that's how he's been getting by in life. That's his worldview. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He's been very rude to Georgia, not respectful at all. And I don't think he could have done this without that, but evidently he's not capable.
Yesterday, almost 10 years later, right?
Yeah.
And that's because you didn't just know a big piece of it. You were a big piece of it, weren't you, Doctor?
I was extorted and I knew a lot. Yeah.
One moment, please, Your Honor.
And now I think it's over.
That's it. That's it, babies. Okay. Thoughts? Do we feel better now that we've reviewed Georgia's cross? Oops, sorry. Hitting you again. I am so sorry. This is covering your face. I have
No, that's
tried.
okay. No, that's okay. That was
There's a
actually a really good
glitch.
point by Julia.
Yeah, Julia. If she had been less ladylike with him, he would have backed off. Bullies are always bullying or being bullied. So you think that she should have been stronger, or are you just saying? Are you saying he should have, or is that just the way it is? And I agree. Yay! I feel better too. And Carrie says that's the definition of a narcissist. They make up an alternative reality if they feel it's true. That's interesting. And Priscilla says the whole family is. It is really sick, C-Star, that you would feel relieved. And then he let out that big sigh.
Yeah.
He knew he was getting to the end, but he's not relieved. Look at him. Okay, I'm going to share another reason we should feel good, okay? Because just to give you an idea, what I did was I wrote down what Georgia asked and or what she got out of him, okay, in this 2-hour cross. And there's a lot. And of course she would have had to draw the line somewhere. And I'm going to tell you first, before I go through all of them, the ones that I have in bold, there's maybe 5, okay? So this is Georgia's cross-examination of the Maestro dentist, all right, with his extortion theory. First of all, she got him to say that the murderers were paid with stapled money. He gave the stapled money to Meg Banoa, and she gave them the money to them. She got him to say that on the stand. That's extremely important, shouldn't be overlooked. This is a murder trial, after all, not an extortion trial. Another one I have bolded is Charlie thought the worst decision of Wendy's life was marrying Dan. He said that on the stand. And then one of the other things I did have bolded was something we just talked about here. What would the extortionists have to sing about? Right? What if he didn't kill Dan? What is it that they are extorting him for? It doesn't make any sense. What do they have to sing about? In his words, she took his words about singing that he used in the wiretap, talking about the real faux extortion from the FBI, from the bump. Another one I have bolded is Charlie was feeling Magbanua out to see if Rivera had bad feelings toward him. Why? He's saying, like, I'm being sneaky and I was trying to feel her out. Why? Why would that matter? What his feelings were toward him? I mean, he's paying her. What is that about? That's really fishy. And I think a couple people noted that he's really trying to pin this on Luis for some reason. I don't get that. Another one I have bolded, and I only have a few. I've got over 120 points she made, but a few bolds. Wouldn't it be good for Charlie, for the police? Wouldn't it be good for Charlie if the police arrested the people who killed Dan? Wouldn't that be good for him if they were extorting him for that reason? And if it would be good for him, why would he have to have kept it a secret? I mean, I know he claims the whole Latin Kings thing, but you would think he would have had some relief. And that's when he started acting funny. And even June reported that, when he was acting all crazy. So those were my bold points. Do you have any main points that you, audience and you, Carla, personally have bolded?
Did you, Dawn, I'm sorry, I may have misunderstood. Did you say that you don't think he's blaming it on Luis?
No, he is.
Oh, yes. Yeah. But,
No, he is.
speaking of, so I watched the Luis's testimony. I rewatched it again today.
Mm-hmm.
And considering that they are saying that he was the main one,
right,
Rashbaum didn't come after him as hard as he could have.
He could have, right. He could have been saying, why were you extorting my client?
Right. I mean, it's almost like he was
that.
walking on eggshells, around him.
He was being very careful with,
right.
He knew, because he knew Luis had the truth.
Right. So I think what surprised
Good
me
point.
is that, because he knew, right? Rashbaum knows what Charlie's going to say, and he knows that he's going to point the finger at Luis. So you had the opportunity. He was there in front of you, shackled. It's not as though he's going to come after you. So why didn't you hit him harder? I felt like he hit Katie harder than he did the person that his client is alleging was really the main person driving all this.
Right. And why? Yeah, unless they're afraid if they go after Sigfredo too much, then he might come testify because he was on the witness list. Maybe that's the reason.
I don't know. I really think
because you're dealing with a known, what Luis already proffered. He's testified twice. You had the 2-hour proffer, but we don't know what Sigfredo would say.
Yeah.
You don't know. I don't even think he was depositioned, or maybe he was. We'll find out.
No, I don't think anything. I don't think he's talked at all. He's banking on the appeals, which is, in my opinion, really right.
But if that's the case, then that would be the reason he would go after Luis then, because it's a known commodity.
If it were me, I would go after the person who is not there to testify versus the person who was,
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Queen Olive says she feels better. Julia says Georgia was too soft. Queen Olive says he's a disgusting human being. Excuse me, I still have my cough. Priscilla says very disgusting. Hey Mona, I'm hoping that Georgia has an amazing end game. She certainly knows this case and cast of characters better than anyone. Very true, and I'm sure she does. I feel it will be a cat. Renee says, I feel it will be a guilty verdict. Worst case scenario, hung jury, and it will be a wrap if it's a retrial. And Priscilla agreeing with Mona. And Carla says, I agree. Oh, Carla, you commented. You found your way into the chat.
Through my phone.
Yeah, I was echoing a little bit, so I was a little worried if something was going on. Okay, Priscilla making me feel better, says Hey Mona. Priscilla says exactly. Julia says he also stupid asserts, or stupid asserts. Okay. You can tell that means Julia. That'd be great. He knows about probable cause affidavit. He should be worried about arrest. So yeah, go clear your name. What a goofball. Tato the Brainiac. Oh. Which one is Tato? Tudo.
Tudo is Sigfredo and Tato is Luis.
Okay. Well, Sigfredo is the one who's really, I think Luis is smarter than Sigfredo, don't you? He made a really better choice. Yeah.
And also Sigfredo, and I know Georgia said it, but she said it by mistake. Sigfredo was never in the Latin Kings.
Correct. And yes, they shifted to Katie being the main person behind the extortion. The whole thing is crazy. Thomas F. Hi. And Julius is 90% will get a guilty. And mentor lawyer. Yeah. I didn't know when he was going live, but I'm going to watch his later. I might have to watch it on a higher speed because I do want to get some sleep. We've got early morning because here on the West Coast, they start at 5:30 in the morning. So hola from Go Georgia. Hey, okay. Do you want me to read my whole 120 things that Georgia brought out? They're quick little short sentences.
I do. I say
okay,
let's
chat.
go for it.
Okay, you tell me which one's important to you, but I think when we see everything that she did bring out, we're going to feel a lot better. And that's my goal. Number one, you were extorted on July 18th, 2014. Okay, not the 19th, the 18th. Dan was still alive. Who extorted you? It was very unclear. Meg Banawa and Sigfredo, and he still wasn't clear, Charlie, as far as I'm concerned. And that was the first two questions. Charlie said he didn't find out Meg Banawa until Meg Banawa and Sigfredo's trial in 2019 that Meg Banawa was in on the extortion. The evidence that he saw on that come out on that trial, which I guess he watched by himself because Wendy doesn't watch read or watch anything. Meg Banawa was arrested in 2016. She was 3 years in jail, and Charlie didn't come forward with this information that Meg Banawa didn't conspire to murder him. He could have assisted law enforcement and exonerated Meg Banawa, or he could have, if he then thought she was extorting him, he could have had her add the charges for that to hers, and he could have then revealed to his sister and nephews what happened to Dan. It was his fault because he was being extorted. Just like, this is really interesting. It's his fault that Dan was murdered because he was being extorted. And Wendy says it's her fault Dan was murdered because she divorced him. Somebody must have done this to help her, right? So either way, the center of the universe, the fault lies on these two people from their own mouths. And of course, Georgia said, does somebody have to come to you to report a crime? So on July 18th, 2014, Meg Banawa transacted, not Sigfredo and no Latin Kings. So it was all Meg Banawa. He was never contacted by the other two. But he thought it was the other two, not her. So that doesn't make any sense. And I think that's really important. It seems small, but it's not. It's really big. He was never had a gun to his head. He was never held up. He was never threatened. Meg Banawa was unarmed on the 18th, never armed in any of their transaction. And she was alone, and she slept with him that night after she extorted him. The money was stapled. I mentioned this earlier. He admitted the murderers were paid with stapled money.
And also, she turned off her phone.
And what doesn't even make sense is he paid her on the 18th because Dan was murdered, but Dan was still alive. He was alive for 14 hours. He wasn't pronounced dead until the wee hours of the 19th. So I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so what she's saying is the murderers got paid by Meg Benoit, who got paid by Charlie. So that was a big admission because this is a murder trial. Extortion had to be part of Charlie's defense. And that's what Georgia said. And I think that this is important because there's no evidence of the extortion. It's easy to say Donna made banana bread for Dan. There's no evidence of that. He can't dispute it. He's dead. It's easy to say things like this out of your head, out of your ears, out of your buns when there's no way to corroborate it. Charlie didn't suspect Katie was working with the police, but he did suspect whoever was doing the FBI extortion bump was possibly the police, working with the police. Why didn't he suspect Katie was working with the police? So why did Charlie hand over money with no real, like, Dan was already dead. It doesn't make sense. And so he admitted to that. He just handed it over. Sigfredo and Luis weren't there holding a gun to his head. They weren't even there waiting for Katie in the car. He just handed this money over. And a few Xanax, I guess. So the bump was only $5,000, but with Katie, he just handed over the money. And they fussed, right, about that bump. They have all those wiretaps, and what should we do? And should we pay him? Should we tell him it's just a donation? I mean, all this fretting. There's all this evidence of that, but no evidence of this $350,000 plus all the extras, that was an extortion. How could that be? No one ever once spoke about this extortion, but they spoke and chattered and met in restaurants and went through all this effort to not pay $5,000, but they didn't do that for the much larger extortion. Charlie said repeatedly, that's not the way it's done in the wiretaps. And this is the way it's done. This concoction of a story that he has. And of course, Georgia basically made this as a statement, but it was a question. She said, and she didn't get objected to, that it had to be $350,000 to retrofit it to her story. I don't think she used that word, to his story. But the offer for Dan that they were going to give to Dan was a whole $1 million. So why wasn't it $1 million? Doesn't make sense, because he was supposedly talking to Katie about that. So why didn't she ask him for $1 million? Well, she knew he was going to pay a third, so she knew he had a third of $1 million. No, she would have asked for $1 million. Why would you go small? It doesn't make sense. Why didn't he suspect Meg Benoit until 2019 if she was the one who asked for it? I mean, she's just the middle person, and what, are they holding a gun to her head? So she has to act. It doesn't make any sense that he wouldn't suspect, at least partially, that until 2019 that Meg Benoit was part of this extortion. She was innocent, and they were just like using her and taking the money. That doesn't make sense. And if that was the case, why did he have to keep paying her? It doesn't make sense. And then she got him to say yes. Georgia got him to say yes. They put me on a payment plan. That was just priceless. And of course, again, she went over that Charlie didn't give the cash to the extorters themselves. And then after all of this, on the 18th, he finds out Dan was shot. Katie comes over and demands money. This is his story. He just took a Xanax and went to sleep. I mean, he's not pacing. He's not thinking about calling the police. He's not shaking in his shoes. I just went to sleep, as one does. Makes no sense. He was extorted before Dan was even dead. He didn't go to the gym, so he lied to his friends, and he's been called out on lying to his friends regularly in some of his text messages. The text messages were inconsistent with the person who was an extorter. Georgia brought that out. And she also brought out, so she said, remember when the text messages were projected on the screen? She said, so these text messages aren't anything like what they seem, like just have a beautiful day and isn't it sunny outside? That's not what these text messages about. There's something else going on that we're supposed not. It sounds a little delusional. And then he says, well, it's because Murdaugh told him to never bring it up again. And we can see how good he is at following orders from women, right? Like that would have worked. Doesn't make any sense. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm only like a fourth of the way through and my throat is giving out. But I'm going to go over to the comments here and see, oh my gosh, see what you all are thinking. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go all the way back up. Oh my gosh, you guys are great. Okay. Okay. TC Bro says Charlie is either the guiltiest or the unluckiest dude on earth. Kat Renee says she thinks Georgia did well. And I believe you're right, Kat Renee. Sarah will do the major closing and Georgia will do the rebuttal. I believe that. Thomas F says Georgia should have asked Dr. Adelson, who knows more about this case, me or you? That would have been good. That would have been good. And Julia, yes, Julia, Sarah would have been better to cross Charlie. Yeah, a lot of people think that. But I think by going through this list, we can see that she was able to bring out quite a bit. So we're never going to have perfection. First extortion. This is Go Georgia. First extortion, July 18th. Second extortion, when after the bump, 2016. Latin Kings Credit Union payment plan, $3,000 a month over a 9-year. Oh my gosh. Yes, without interest, right?
And it's also important to note that his son was born after the second extortion, but not once did he report and say, hey, I'm also afraid because now I have a child, so the component to the extortion or whatever was going on is very different. It takes another meaning. It's taking it to another level.
Right. And he even, and this would have been that's an excellent point. And he even had Bree living with him. So right. Bree and his baby were living in that house. He didn't move. He didn't move him in somewhere secret or hide him away from where Katie knew. He just moved him in there and wasn't concerned that they might be threatened.
Yep.
Yeah. Very good point. Very good point that you brought
and
that out.
She's living at one of the other Adelson homes.
Yeah. Who cares? Okay. I'm sorry. I care about what you say. I just don't care about her. Thomas F says Georgia got lost in her line of questioning and Charlie looked like he was in a lounge room sipping on a cocktail. Yeah, he looked pretty good on our computers, but I know in person that he looked like a sweating, awful mess. But a lot of that's hidden on the low quality because these videos that we see, some of them are sharper than what I'm showing you here, but they're not going to get the kind of quality of picture that you'd get from like a still photograph or seeing him in person. Joe Nicolai, I heard somewhere it was because Rashbaum is scared of the loss of Latin Kings. That's interesting. Could be. We love our Go Georgia. That's from Carla. Julia, Thomas F. in Georgia was no match for Wendy, the master at evading and deflecting. Well, she's not on trial yet. We'll see when she's on trial. Okay. Kat Renee, Katie spent the night. Dan wasn't deceased. No money could be exchanged that night, right?
Yep.
It didn't make sense. Loved what Georgia said as evidenced by the banana bread. I don't remember her saying that. Did Go Georgia say that or actual Georgia?
Actual Georgia.
I don't remember that. I
Mm-hmm.
I forget. That's funny.
Because both Fibbers and Charlie said like, well, she even baked him banana bread, you know, like she wouldn't do that if there was any bad blood between them.
Right. Julia, they both took Xanax for sweet extortion dreams. Oh my gosh. And he paid him, hey Mona, he patiently waited 5 minutes for Katie to have a private conversation regarding
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure he's so patient. He seems like a real patient kind of guy. Oh my gosh, implausible. Thomas F. Georgia versus Wendy is actually quite entertaining, but Charlie was like a dinner date between two. It was, yeah, but right. Why not ask for $1 million? If you're going to go for it, go big, you know, $350,000. It's just so bizarre. And obviously it had to fit. His only way to get out of this is to make up some story, you know, give him A for effort, but it's implausible. Jurors will agree. Yeah, I hope so. I think so. Julia, be sure not to take the 48 hours they gave to pay. Yeah, right. Why did he just give it away? Let me think about this for 48 hours. Let me think about this. My options. You would say, okay, I'll see you in 48 hours with my decision, right? Well, I got to get the money or whatever. Whoops, I just got really. Cat Renee, since we're working out a payment plan, may as well do the full $1 million, right? Right. And true, Priscilla, the evidence against Charlie is really overwhelming. And even without Katie, she didn't offer that much. She offered a few little tidbits that were required, but especially for and it, you know, thankful they did call her, you know, because of this extortion. And by the way, okay, let me read this comment. The first rule of extortion: first you threaten the crime, then you ask for the money.
Yes.
Not the other way around. Exactly. And I agree, Georgia did not bring that up or evidence to support that from the FBI. I agree. There were a lot of things a few things she could have been much sharper about. Maybe she will in the closing. What was my thought? No, I forgot. I should have said it when I thought it was really important. Oh, I know what it was. It was regards to this, the evidence against Charlie being overwhelming. I feel like it was kind of a chess move for Rashbaum to, you know, spring this on and kind of force Georgia to bring Katie on, right? And then because she basically was forcing him to bring Charlie on. I think it was like a kind of a counter move if she doesn't bring, you know, but he had to bring Charlie. She wouldn't have had to bring Katie, but she didn't know how he was going to prove this theory, right? He didn't know that he was going to do it by having Charlie be walked point by point through his alibi for 9 hours, right? So she probably didn't even need Katie on. Maybe I'd have to look at Katie's again to see if there were any tidbits that might help in future trials to have her on record saying, but
I think she needed Katie after they heard the, you know, announcement at opening statements where he said, I'm about to share with you, not even the prosecution knows this. I think that's when she said, no, we need her.
Right. But I don't know if she really did, is what I'm saying. But I do think he was trying to force her, and he thought that was a good chess move and that it might backfire because Katie is Katie. And it didn't backfire. I just don't think it offered a ton. Julia says, I'm sure some jurors felt insulted. Well, yeah, they might be like, we'll see if they feel insulted if they come back real quick tomorrow, and let's hope they do. And Thomas F is concerned about the jury. Why are you concerned about the jury, Thomas? Honey and lemon. Yes, I know. I need to get some hot. Hey, Mona, you're very welcome. And yes, we're going to be up at 5:30. Now, my live stream isn't going to go until the jury goes out for deliberations. I'll probably be hanging out on Mentor Lawyers until then. I could go earlier. I'm not sure, but I don't think I will. I want to just focus on the closing arguments. I might not even be in the chat. Because a lot of times when we're in the chat, we don't really we miss a lot.
Right.
Charlie cares about Charlie. Yeah, 5:35 a.m. TC bro, you must be on the West Coast too. And Queen Olive. Okay, we're in this together very early in the morning. Are you working tomorrow, Carla?
I am, but I normally wake up at that time anyway, so I'm up and ready. I'm an early bird, so
Mhm.
5:30 for me is like, yay, the day is starting.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not, especially when I'm taking all this cold medicine. It's been hard. Okay, so C Star is asking, will they have jury instructions in the morning or after closings? They do it differently. Sometimes they'll do the jury instructions, then the closing, and then they'll review some of the jury instructions. I don't know that they indicated it in the conference on Friday after both the state and the defense rested. I can't remember what came out of that. I am going to do some shorts about that conference on Friday. I think there was a lot of interesting stuff in there. Do you think the jury will leave the payment plan? Nah, I don't. I mean, what do you think, TC bro? What do you think? Carla? Do you
No,
think?
I don't either.
So,
No.
so this is a good question, because if they don't believe the payment plan, or if they don't believe any one part of this structure, the whole thing falls apart. The whole thing falls apart. I mean, this is a house of cards. All you have to do is pull out one, and his whole fictional, fanciful fiction just comes crumbling down, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Go Georgia. I think he could have been ruder to a younger female like Sarah. He loved having an audience. Carl Steinbeck perhaps would be superb. Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know that Sarah would take it, though. She's pretty sharp. If it were true, they would have asked for $1 million. That's another one of the house of cards, one of the cards that could bring it all down. That the implausibility of the fact that he offered to pay $350,000 to get Dan off their back.
Right.
And then Wendy didn't do that. So I don't know. She probably told the family she did and just said, he said no. Who knows what she told them? I don't think she's truthful with anybody, including her family. Right. So whatever the verdict, according to Go Georgia, Charlie will be paying Latin Kings unless they, yeah. That's true. He'll be paying in prison. Sounds like he's dragged them in the mud. Yeah. 30,000 members worldwide.
And plus, they now know that they have a lot of money.
Yeah. They do. I mean, they know it now, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Not only was it not the perfect murder, it's far from the perfectly crafted defense. 48 hours being a mistake. Okay, so that's what the card is that she thinks, that Julia thinks. Yep, West Coast. You're on the West Coast too, Julie? Okay, so yeah, a lot of West Coasties here. Thomas. Okay, it's easy for us. We know so much about the case, but following just this trial, they could be totally confused. Right, and if they're totally confused, I think that'll work toward the state, personally. Yay, C-Star! You're on the West Coast too. Okay, we have our West Coast audience, I guess. That's awesome. And that's why the cross was crucial. Yeah, it's true, but they all do have brains, I think, hopefully. And Julia says much rests on the closing, and especially the rebuttal. It was interesting that they didn't have a rebuttal to the defense. So the state could have had a rebuttal then, and they poo-pooed that. So I don't know. And of course,
I really thought, Dawn, I was talking with Carl Steinbeck, and I told him that I really thought, before Katie came out, I really thought she was going to be the rebuttal witness.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but look at the way she speaks and stuff. She could have fallen apart. Like, I don't know if they can count on her. She hasn't come clean, at least from what I've seen so far. So, she is a dangerous witness, and I think I think Rashbaum was all too happy to push them into that trap. So they just got her on and off for what they needed. And yeah. And of course, Rashbaum couldn't, unless he asked her as a witness, he couldn't just ask her anything. He could only ask her based on what Georgia had asked her. So, and even that was kind of squishy. But of course, yes, there will be a rebuttal tomorrow for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so too. I would have loved to go to see the trial. It's a good thing I didn't. I'd have been sick in my hotel room all the time. But yeah, I will go to the next one. I will go to the next one. I absolutely
Ditto.
must. Yeah, we're going West Coast. Yeah. West Coast folks, we're all gonna get to Tallahassee. And I mean, I don't know how long I would go. I'd want to be there through the closing, I think, in the verdict watch. Julia says she'll go for Donna's.
Yep, me too.
Yep, for sure. I'm in, baby. All right.
Yep.
Well, I do have more points. So what I'm going to do to save my voice is I'm going to make a cool little slideshow and put it as a video. How's that?
Cool.
Do you have an? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's cool. I like your shorts too.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, everybody's watching. Thanks for joining us. And please subscribe and check out my shorts and the little 2 to 3 to 4 minute videos that I did for you all. I'm really proud of them.
The ones on June are just priceless.
I mean, the feedback I'm getting, it's just they're not being shown. So share them. I don't care where you share them. Share them to Facebook, share them to Instagram, share them to wherever you want. But I just think they're fun, and they're probably a good way to end out the night too. The puzzle pieces one I actually did the vocals for and did the video, so I had fun with it. Okay. Oh, another Joe Stover, another West Coastie.
We can probably get a discount, all of us traveling together to the next trial.
Oh, we've got more. Katie's proffers were non-proffers. Yep. And C-Star says, I'll go to Wendy's for sure. For sure. I would love to see them tried together. They can do that. They can try them together. Roger Dodger, great stuff. Glad I found you. Oh, thank you, Roger. I'm glad you found it too. It's nice to meet you. And go Georgia. So tomorrow time is equal. So prosecution first and defense second. Prosecution gets a rebuttal. So they can be split between Sarah and Georgia. Right. I think Georgia's going to do the closing. Sarah, the closing, and Georgia, the rebuttal would be my guess. What do you mean by time is equal? Are they being timed?
I think she means like the judge is going to give each one of them an hour, or each one of them.
Usually they don't do that. The judge doesn't, but they may have agreed to that or just said that's what they're going to do. And that might have been in the conference on Friday. Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, perfect. Joe Stover, West Coast. I hope I'm getting all the comments. Last night, there was no way I could get all the comments. I tried. It was just going too fast. The only way Wendy gets charged is if her family sings. You don't think, Julia, she will get charged? Well, she's kind of technically been charged. She just hasn't been indicted. She's been named. You don't think that Charlie getting a guilty verdict would be the pathway to that? I do. I think Charlie's guilty verdict will be a very easy pathway for further arrests. That's my opinion. Kat Renee, with the hopes of charging Wendy, I think Georgia will need to be careful not to open a can of worms that she wouldn't be able to use against her. Right. I know a lot of people wanted to ask Wendy a lot more things, but that's right. You ask her more things, then those are things she can lie about, but she can also get her for perjury. And then she has no immunity. And perjury is a big deal. It's a federal offense, and she will have prison time for that. If nothing else, I would think they would do that. Perjury is not done very often, but occasionally it is. Roger. All right. Roger Dodger likes the shorts. Thank you, Carrie. 1 a.m. Okay, yes. Let's get some sleep. We all need sleep. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much. Any final thoughts, Carla and And we do want to get to know Carla more. We maybe can do that tomorrow, learn a little bit more about Carla.
Yeah, the most important thing you guys need to know is that I'm here for it. I'm ready for this family to just be brought to the point where they pay for what they did. Really, truly. I mean, when this crime first came out, much like the Alec Murdaugh, there was more to it. When, pieces were coming out in the news, I kept saying, that just doesn't sound right. That just doesn't sound right. And like when the news broke or came out that he was in his driveway or in his garage and he was killed, I immediately said that doesn't just happen. I mean,
Right.
it's a targeted, he was targeted, and he's a young father. And so it was very tough. And then, little by little things came out. And so I, along with all of you or most of you, have been following. And I, along with most of you, if not all of you, am also frustrated that he's first of the Adelsons charged, but I truly believe in my heart that he's not going to be the last.
Very good. I agree. Yes. Justice for Dan, justice for his family and his loved ones, for sure. And then
someone made a comment of Tim Jensen. I've got to share with you guys. I'm not his biggest fan. I appreciate some of his commentary, but I feel like he's been off, and Carl has kind of proved him wrong several times.
I think Thomas F, just clarify, is that tongue in cheek? I think he meant it as a joke.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I mean, I took it that way. I was like, ha ha ha, because I share your same feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just not my go-to. And I think what you're saying is he's not necessarily, he's got, great credentials. He's he's a wonderful guy, no doubt, but he's not necessarily our go-to for Dan Markel case. Yeah, that's
totally.
But he's learning. He's learned a lot over the last month jumping into this, as has Joel and because a lot of these people just came on. They're not with the old goats that have been doing this for a
Totally. But I mean, even though John and Carl just came on, I think they've been pretty spot on. Yeah, Georgia, thanks. So
yeah,
I think they've been pretty spot on. And Tim, again, great at what he does, no doubt about it.
Sure,
not taking that away from him. I just don't think I think he's commenting, and he may have inside scoop, but it just seems like most of the time it's incorrect. Like for example, he said that Katie's if Katie testify, it would be nothing, and that she wouldn't really have much to provide. She won't point fingers, but she did the exact opposite. So, little things like that.
Yeah. There've been many, but we're not going to be here, pointing out all of Tim's mistakes.
Right.
I think he's owned them. We don't need to do that. He's owned them, and he's a big boy. He can take care of himself. But yeah, he's learned on the job, so to speak. But he hasn't been, living and breathing this for the length of time that Mentor Lawyer introduced this case to us. I don't know how many years ago. Yep. I mean, I didn't have a channel. I jumped on. I actually started live streaming fairly recently, last year, I guess it was. And then I took a bunch of time off. I have a lot of health issues, so I can't always be super consistent. But I felt like there needed to be more voices, of people, because I was in the background, watching all the trials, and I didn't really know. I mean, I finally noticed that there was actually a community, the Justice for Dan Markel, and I started following that. So yeah, it's been great.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a good point, Julia. Charlie did look very nervous when Katie went up on the stand. Now we know why. I mean, right? But I think Thomas was saying that tongue in cheek. About him, whatever he said earlier, it was tongue in cheek. Anyway, I want to listen, I think, to Katie's testimony because it's pretty short. I was just so focused on what is she saying, because she's so wishy-washy.
Yeah.
And yes, and I want to listen to Mentor's closing argument that he put together, because he's the one. This really affects his heart. You know,
Right.
he said what he was going to present it and not do live chat interaction. I think he just wanted to put it out there, and good for him. You know, he put so much into this, and he'll be there tomorrow. Seeing it matters to him. You know, it really
Yeah.
he's got a big heart. So.
For
Well,
sure.
thank you guys for joining us. I know if you're joining us live, that's great. And if you're replaying tomorrow or the next day or whatever, that's great. You can still put your insights into the comments tomorrow. And want to hear from you. And I love this community. And it's been really fun to chit chat with you on my channel and on other channels too. So I am going to have a Verdict Watch live stream on my channel tomorrow. I have invited others on. Mentor Lawyer actually said he was going to have me on his channel. So if he comes on, it'll be on his channel too. But I think he's been spreading himself a little thin. So I'm not going to hold him to that. I said, no, you know, we can do something after the trial. We can do something unrelated to Dan Markel. And there's some other things I'd like to talk about. So I'm also a victim of a serious crime. And when I was a child, and I just got the trial transcripts. This is back from when I was a little girl, and I haven't read them yet, but I thought I would see if I could have permission to read those sometime when there's a dull moment in our lives. I think it'd be really interesting. And Thomas F., you're very welcome. And okay, everyone, well, we'll see you for the Verdict Watch. If you're subscribed, click the bell. It'll show you when I'm online. I'm basically just going to be watching from when the jury goes out. It'll probably be after lunch, right? Don't you think? So 9 a.m. West Coast is 12 o'clock in Tallahassee, so it might be 9:30. So even though I have it set for 9 a.m., I'm not going on actually live probably until the jury actually goes into deliberation. Yikes! Can you believe we're saying it?
Right.
The day has come. We've been waiting so long for this.
It's
So,
here. It's
here. It's here.
And it's time. It's
Verdict
time.
Eve. Happy Verdict Eve for what it's worth, and justice for Dan. Oh, Dawn, what did I do now?
Your comment about your experience. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. It's a big one. So, and for many years, I couldn't watch the news, and I would never be interested in true crime. It's only been the last few years that it's become therapeutic for me. So, yeah, it's empowering for me to be able to handle all this. So there's certain things I shy away from, obviously, but are a little too much for me. But yeah, so this is a really, and I've learned that there are other people like me. So that's not as unusual as you would think. So it's kind of cool. So maybe the courtroom will be packed. I wouldn't be surprised.
It will be, for sure.
Yeah, juries are legit and have good brains. Yes. Bye, Donna Coffee or a lemon and honey. We love you back, Jordan. Go Georgia. And I'm not monetizing this channel, by the way, ever, you guys. So I shouldn't say ever, but for a very long time, I don't think so. Oh, Wally Cleaver's here. Hi. Don't think the jury will get to this till 3 or 4 Eastern. Oh, really? Okay. Could be. Well, that'll be better for me. I'll have more time for my voice to rest. No, Imchinda's. Oh my God. Yeah, I hear what you say. That's right. He has. Jim's great. June was too much. She is something else. Imchinda's. Okay, guys. Well, with that, happy Verdict Eve, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks again for being here.
Good night, guys.
Carla. Oops,
Good night.
Bye.